Okay, we're going to try another team up. We're going to use the commander decks again. We've got Baxter Stockman and Bebop and Rocksteady. Our first boss that we're going to go against is Rat King, the Chaos Bringer. Ninjas the boss's control have Death Touch. Yuck. So Baxter has their starting hand of Island, Ooze, Kitsune, Ray Fillet, Coin of Mastery, Mountain, and Mountain. Bebop and Rocksteady are going to start with Swamp, Undergrowth Stadium, Thriving Rove, Leatherhead, Tainted Treats, Swamp, and Mutant Chain Reaction. We'll draw our first cards of the turn. Baxter drawing Nobody. And Bebop and Rocksteady drawing an Ash Barrens. Let's start with Bebop and Rocksteady playing a Thriving Grove. We're going to choose, comes into play tapped. We're going to choose black, so it'll give us a black or a green. And for Baxter Stockman, we are going to play an island. But we have no one drop, so that's all we're going to do. So we're going to pass the turn to the boss. The boss is going to play 2 event cards. So we've got Villain Mayhem. As a team, we choose 3 creatures, destroy each other creature. We don't have any, so it's a little bit of a freebie. And they're going to play return 2 ninja cards at random from the boss graveyard to the battlefield. Well, they don't have much of a graveyard right now, so that's another little freebie for us. We're going to go to our turn. We're going to untap, upkeep, draw. Baxter is going to draw Chromatic Lantern. And Rocksteady is going to draw Transdimensional Bovine. Bebop and Rocksteady still have no 2 drops or anything, so we're going to play Undergrowth Stadium. It's going to come into play tapped since we only have 1 opponent. And Baxter Stockman is going to play a mountain. So we're going to tap an island and a mountain. And we're going to bring in the Ooze. Whenever a creature you control with a +1 counter on it leaves the battlefield, create a mutagen token for each +1 counter on it. We could tap it to exile a card from a graveyard and create a mutagen token. Now, I'm going to say we can't use it on the boss's graveyard because that would be crazy. And if we could exile the entire boss's graveyard, it wouldn't have much of a deck to play with, and we would eventually win. So I'll just say that we could only exile our own graveyard for this team-up game. So that's pretty much all we can play. So we're going to pass the turn to the boss. Boss is going to untap and play 2 event cards. It's going to start with the Foot Disciple, 3/3. Which is a ninja, which has Death Touch, thanks to Rat King. And a Foot Skirmisher, which will also have Death Touch and flying. Ugh. So the boss can't attack because they just brought those 2 creatures in. So we're going to go to our turn where we will untap, upkeep, and draw. So Baxter will draw into Irma, Part-Time Mutant. And Bebop and Rocksteady will draw a Forest. So Baxter Stockman is going to play a mountain. We're going to tap 2 red and a blue. And we're going to bring out Nobody. When this creature enters, return up to 1 target artifact you control to its owner's hand. We have none. Well, we have 1, but we're not going to. So up to, we're going to say 0. And then we get to scry 1. We're going to use this to block that Foot Disciple when it comes attacking. We're going to have Bebop and Rocksteady play a forest. Let's tap all 3 lands for green, green, green. And we're going to play Transdimensional Bovine. It's a 0/4 with flying, and we can tap it to add 2 mana of any one color. So that's pretty much it for our turn. So we can pass to the boss. Boss will untap, upkeep. I guess it has no upkeep, but it will untap. We got another Foot Skirmisher. So it's got flying. It's a 2/1. And we've got each hero sacrifices a tapped creature they control. Luckily, none of our creatures are tapped, so we got a little freebie there. Boss will now attack with the Foot Disciple and the 1 Foot Skirmisher. We're going to block with nobody, so Foot Disciple, nobody will trade. They'll both die, but we will get hit by the Foot Skirmisher for 2. So we will be going to our turn, where Baxter will draw Dawn and Wrath, Hard Science. And Bebop and Rocksteady will draw a Swamp. Baxter Stockman's has no more lands, sadly. So we're going to tap for a red, red, and a blue. And bring in Dawn and Wrath, Hard Science. They've got Menace. Whenever Dawn and Wrath attack, the next non-creature spell you cast this turn has affinity for artifacts. We're also going to tap the Ooze, and we're going to exile nobody from our grave, and we will create a mutagen token. So Bebop and Rocksteady are going to play a Swamp. I think what we're going to do is we're going to tap a Swamp, a Forest, and let's say another green. And we're going to cast Tainted Treats. Destroy target artifact or creature. We're going to destroy one of the Foot Skirmishers. If mana value is 4 or less, which it is, it has none, we're going to create a food token. Then we're going to tap Thriving Grove for green. And we're going to tap our Transdimensional Bovine for 2 more green. And we're going to cast Mutant Chain Reaction. We're going to destroy target creature with flying and create a mutagen token. So that's going to get rid of both of those Foot Skirmishers. And we can now pass the turn to the Rat King. So the boss is going to play 2 event cards. We're going to start with, as a team, the heroes choose a creature with the greatest power among creatures they control, destroy it. The boss lose life equal to the creature's power. Cuddly over here only has 0 power. So Dawn and Wrath it is for 2. The second event card will be Foot Enforcer. Yuck. They can't be blocked by more than 1 creature, and they're 6/3. So the boss can't attack because they just brought in the Foot Enforcers, so we will be going to our turn, untapping, upkeep, and draw. We're going to we're going to draw into April, Reporter of the Weird for Baxter. For Rocksteady, we've got a Forest. So we're going to tap our 3 lands. Red, red, blue. And we're going to cast April, Reporter of the Weird, hoping that we can start attacking and drawing some cards. Then we're going to tap the Ooze, and we're going to exile Dawn and Wrath, Hard Science, and create a mutagen token. So we are going to, for Bebop and Rocksteady, play a swamp. And we're going to tap Cuddly for 2 green. And we're going to tap all 5 of our lands for 5 more mana. And we're going to cast Leatherhead, Iron Gator. It's got Trample, Haste. Whenever Leatherhead attacks, put 2 +1/+1 counters on each creature you control. So we're going to attack with Leatherhead. When he attacks, we're going to put 2 +1 counters on him. And he's going to be a 7/7, doing 7 damage to the Rat King. We're going to pass the turn to the Rat King. Because that's going to end our turn. There's nothing more to do. The Rat King's going to do 2 event cards. So as a team, the heroes choose a creature with the greatest power among creatures they control and destroy it. Well, that's going to be Leatherhead. And for the second one, we've got Bebop's Rampage. Deals 2 damage to each creature the heroes control. So we're going to lose our April Reporter of the Weird. Now the boss gets to attack. So the Foot Enforcer is going to do 6 damage right to our face. So we're going to untap, upkeep, draw. Baxter Stockman is going to draw into Raphael, Most Attitude. Whereas Bebop and Rocksteady will draw into Tunnel Rats. Looks like Baxter isn't drawing any land and Rocksteady's drawing all the land. So we're going to use 2 red and a blue to cast Chromatic Lantern. So at least we can tap it for a mana. Then we're going to tap the Ooze, and we're going to exile Mutant Chain Reaction from the Bebop and Rocksteady graveyard to create a mutagen token. So for Bebop and Rocksteady, we are going to play a forest, and we're going to tap a forest and a swamp to cast Tunnel Rats. So we could pay 5 to return this card from our graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Then we're going to tap Underground Stadium, green and a black. We'll say that one's green. And we're going to cast Bebop and Rocksteady. Whenever Bebop and Rocksteady attack or block, sack a permanent unless you discard a card. Then we're going to use our last mana here without tapping Cuddly. And we're going to tap it for 1 so we can sacrifice our mutagen token and put that on the Tunnel Rats. So now all we can do is pass to the boss. And the boss is going to do 2 event cards. Foot Disciple. And Slashes Smash. Destroy all turtles. Well, we have no turtles in play, thank goodness. So we got a freebie there. So now the Foot Enforcer will be attacking, and we're going to use the Tunnel Rats to block so they can trade, and we can get rid of that Foot Enforcer, and our Tunnel Rats will perish. It's going to go to our turn now, so we're going to untap, upkeep, and draw. Baxter is going to draw into an Exploding Barrel, whereas Rocksteady will draw into a forest. I think Baxter Stockman is going to tap the Mountain Island and the Chromatic Lantern. And he's going to cast Coin of Mastery. So each creature you control with an additional enters with an additional +1 counter on it for each mana from an artifact source spent to cast it. We can tap it to create a treasure, so when it resolves, we will be tapping it to create a treasure. We will also tap the Ooze to exile Tainted Treats from the Bebop and Rocksteady graveyard, and we will be creating a mutagen token. Bebop and Rocksteady is going to play a forest, and we're going to tap a swamp, a forest, a forest, a forest, and a swamp. So 5 altogether. And we're going to bring Tunnel Rats back from the grave to the battlefields tapped. So now we got to think about attacking here and blocking. Don't really have much in the way of blocking. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to attack with Bebop and Rocksteady. And we're going to sacrifice the food. Do I want to sacrifice the food? No, we will not sacrifice the food. What we're going to do is we're going to attack with Bebop and Rocksteady, and we're going to discard Ash Barrens from our hand to the grave. And, yeah, go for 7 damage to the boss. With our last 2 mana for Bebop and Rocksteady, we will pay that to sacrifice the food and gain 3 life. So, oh, I got to tap Bebop and Rocksteady. So that's about all we can do on our turn. So we can pass the turn to the boss. The boss will play 2 event cards and then attack. So the first, Baxter's Experiment. So the boss is going to copy the next event the bosses play. So let's see what event gets copied. As a team, this ain't so bad for us. As a team, the heroes choose 3 creatures they control, destroy each other creature the heroes control. So we're going to choose, we've only got 3 creatures, Bebop Rocksteady, Tunnel Rats, and Cuddly. So nothing gets destroyed. It happens again. Nothing gets destroyed. This could have been the best turnout for us, is that this one got copied. So now we're going to go to attacks. The foot soldier is going to attack, and we're going to take 3 damage. That made eating the food worth it. So we can go to our turn now. We're going to untap, upkeep, and draw. Baxter is going to draw into a mountain. Oh, that's great. Land, finally. And Bebop and Rocksteady will draw into a frog with Death Touch. Also good. So we're going to start off by tapping the Coin of Mastery for a treasure token. And we're going to tap the Ooze to exile Ash Barrens from Bebop and Rocksteady's grave to create a mutagen token. So Baxter Stockman is going to play a mountain. We're going to tap We're going to tap 3 mountain. And I think we're going to bring in an exploding barrel. So we can tap it to add a mana of any color and put a pressure counter on the artifact. For 8 and tapping it, you sack it, and it deals 20 damage to target creature. The ability costs 1 less to activate for each pressure counter on it. So we're going to bring this in. So then what we're going to do is we're going to tap the exploding barrel, putting a pressure counter on it. Tap the chromatic lantern. We're going to sack 1 treasure for a blue, and we're going to and we're going to tap our remaining island, and we're going to bring in Ray Fillet, Man Ray. So when Man Ray enters, we're going to create a Mutant token. We can tap to remove a +1 counter from a creature we control and draw a card, but we're going to make a Mutant token when he enters, and because of Coin of Mastery, when he entered, we used Exploding Barrel, Chromatic Lantern, and a treasure, so all different artifact sources, and he's going to get +3 counters on him when he enters. For Bebop and Rocksteady, we're not going to play any lands, but we're going to tap a forest and a swamp, and we're going to bring in that Frog Butler. We could tap it for a mana of any color, or we could pay 2 and it gains reach until end of turn, but we really like it for that Death Touch as well. So now I think we can attack. We're going to attack with Bebop and Rocksteady, killing the Rat King, and yeah. When Bebop and Rocksteady attack, we're going to sacrifice the Tunnel Rats, and we'll do our 7 damage. So that's pretty much it for our turn. So the next creatures, or next bosses, are going to be Rocksteady. Whenever the bosses attack, put a +1 counter on each creature named Foot Disciple. Nuts. And we got Savante Romero. Whenever one or more ninjas the bosses control deal combat damage to the heroes, the bosses play a card. So I'd say that's it for our turn. So we can go to the boss's turn. Bosses are going to play 2 events. Bosses are also going to untap. So the first event is a Foot Disciple, of course. Why wouldn't it be? And the second event is destroy all creatures with flying the hero's control. Well, that kind of blows. I guess we're going to lose Ray Fillet, Man Ray. And we're going to lose the Transdimensional Bovine. So now the bosses can attack. So they'll attack with the Foot Disciple, and the other Foot Disciple just entered, so it won't. It's going to get a +1/+1 counter because of Rocksteady. But we're going to block it with the Frog Butler, who has Death Touch, so that'll take care of the Foot Disciple, and we'll lose our Frog Butler. So now it goes to our turn, so we can untap, upkeep, draw, and I forgot to put the pressure counter, which I tried to remind myself of, so we put one on there right now. So Baxter's going to draw Fugitive Droid, and Bebop and Rocksteady will draw the Cloning of Shredder. So we're going to tap the Coin of Mastery for a treasure and tap the Ooze for to exile Dawn and Wrath and create a Mutant token. So Baxter Stockman is going to tap the Exploding Barrel, putting a pressure counter on it to cast Fugitive Droid. Actually, we won't. We're just going to tap an island. We're going to tap an island and bring out Fugitive Droid. So the Fugitive Droid says when it can't be blocked if an artifact came under the battlefield under your control, but we can also pay blue to sack the creature and counter target spell that targets an artifact or creature you control. So if any of the boss's events target our creature, then maybe we can counter it. So we're also going to tap, now we're going to tap the Exploding Barrel, putting a pressure counter on it. We're going to tap the Chromatic Lantern, and we're going to tap 2 mountains. And And we're going to bring in Raphael, Most Attitude. It's got Menace. Whenever another creature you control enters, you may exile the top card of your library. Whenever Raphael attacks, until end of turn, you can play a card exiled with Raphael. And thanks to Coin of Mastery, Raphael is going to enter with 2 +1/+1 counters on him. I did forget, when Rayflay died, he had 3 +1 counters on him. So because of the ooze, we were supposed to make 3 mutagen tokens, 1 for each +1 counter on the creature that died. So I'm sure we know what Bebop and Rocksteady are going to do. We're going to tap a swamp, a forest, Thriving Grove for a black, a forest, and a swamp. That's 6 mana. And we're going to play the Cloning of Shredder. So we're going to do the first chapter when it enters. Exile target creature card from your graveyard. Create a token that's a copy of it, except it isn't legendary and is a mutant in addition to its other types. So we're going to exile Leatherhead. And we'll create that token. We're just going to use the card right now. We'll just have to remember it's a token. That has Trample Haste, and when it attacks, we put 2 +1/+1 counters on each creature we control. So we're going to go to combat. I think what we're going to do is we're going to attack with Bebop and Rocksteady, and we're going to sacrifice a land. We're going to sacrifice one of our tapped swamps. And we're going to attack, when we attack with Leatherhead, because he has haste, we're going to put +2 +1/+1 counters on each creature you control. So that's Bebop and Rocksteady and Leatherhead. We're going to do 16 damage altogether. We can't attack with anybody else from Baxter because they just came out. So we can go ahead and pass to the boss. The boss is going to do their 2 cards. So they've got Foot Enforcer. Can't be blocked by more than 1 creature. 6/3. And they've got Villain Mayhem. As a team, the heroes choose 3 creatures they control, destroy each other creature. So we're going to choose Bebop and Rocksteady, Leatherhead, and Raphael. So we'll get rid of the Fugitoid. We can't use its counter because it's not targeting. It's not really targeting our creatures. So we'll get rid of the Fugitoid. The Foot Disciple will get to attack. It's going to get a +1 counter thanks to Rocksteady up there. But we're going to block with Raphael, Most Attitude, who is a 6/5 right now, and that'll stop the Foot Disciple. So now it'll pass back to our turn. We're going to untap, upkeep, draw. So Baxter is going to draw a Thriving Island. And Bebop and Rocksteady will draw a Hidden Hideout. So the Cloning of Shredder will go to Chapter 2, which reads, create a token that's a copy of a card exiled with the saga, except it isn't legendary, and it is a mutant in addition to its other types. So I'm thinking for Bebop and Rocksteady, we're going to play Hidden Hideout. It enters tapped. But we can add 1 mana of any color in our commander's color identity, or we could pay 2 and tap it, so target creature you control with a counter on it gains lifelink till end of turn. It's too bad it enters tapped. And then we're going to pay... How about... We're going to tap 5 of our lands, black and green. And we're going to bring back the Tunnel Rats from our grave to the battlefield, tapped. I think Baxter Stockman's going to play the Thriving Island. It comes into play tapped, and we're going to choose red, so it'll give blue to red. We're going to tap the Coin of Mastery for a treasure and tap the Ooze, and we're going to exile Fugitoid so we can create another mutagen. Then we're going to tap the Exploding Barrel and Chromatic Lantern and a treasure to cast Irma, Part-Time Mutant. So obviously one of them is going to be blue at least. At the beginning of combat on your turn, Irma becomes a copy of up to one target creature you control, except her name is Irma, Part-Time Mutant, and she has this ability. Then put a +1/+1 counter on her. So she's going to enter with 3 +1/+1 counters thanks to the Coin of Mastery. And we're going to tap 4 lands. And for each one, we're going to pay 1, sack the mutagen, which you can only activate as a sorcery. And we're going to put a +1/+1 counter on Raphael. So that'll be 4 +1 counters in total we're putting on Raphael, Most Attitude. Then we're going to go to combat. Irma's going to become a copy of Raphael. So then we get to put a +1/+1 counter on her, except her name is Irma. For attacks, I'm going to tap both our Leatherhead copy tokens. They have haste, so that's why I can. And on each of their attacks, we're going to put 2 +1 counters on each creature you control. So a total of 4 +1 counters on Bebop and Rocksteady and the 2 Leatherhead Gators. So one Leatherhead will be doing 11 damage. The other Leatherhead will be doing 9 damage. That's enough to take out the second boss. So for our third boss, we've got Bebop. Whenever the boss is attacked, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature named Foot Disciple. We've got Krang, Dimension X Overlord. Oh no, they get to play an additional card each turn, and at the start of the boss turn, the bosses lose 2 life. And they have Chrome Dome, Cyber Ninja. Ninjas the bosses control get +1/+0 for each boss in play. So they're all going to be ninjas. So they're all going to get +3/+0. Speaking of which, we can pass our turn now to the boss. The boss is going to lose 2 life and then play 3 event cards thanks to Krang. So the first card is Villain Infiltration. As a team, the heroes choose a creature with the greatest power among creatures they control and destroy it. Well, I'm going to say, I believe that's Bebop and Rocksteady at 13. 13 power. We got 10 over here, 11, 9. Yep. Bye-bye, Bebop and Rocksteady. The second card we got is a Foot Disciple. And the last one is, as a team, the heroes discard a total of 2 cards. Unfortunately, I have only 1 card in Baxter's hand and 1 card in Rocksteady's hand. So they will be losing both their cards and having no hand. The boss now gets to attack with the Foot Enforcer. I think we pretty much have this one. We could take the 6, or you know what? Let's take the 6. Now we can untap, upkeep, draw. The cloning of Shredder will go to its last chapter, creating another Leatherhead and then disappearing. We will draw our cards per turn. Baxter with the Broadcast Takeover, which is kind of useless against the AI. And Bebop and Rocksteady with Mikey and Mona, Mutant Sitters. At this point, we already know, though, so we can swing in it with everything. So let's tap all 3 of our Leatherheads. That's probably enough. We don't even have to attack with Raphael or Irma. So each Leatherhead will put 2+1 counters on each creature we control. So that's going to be a total of 6. Because we're attacking with all 3 of them. Oh, even the Tunnel Rats get it. So our Leatherheads themselves are going to be doing, one's going to be doing 17 damage, one's going to be doing 15, and one's going to be doing 11. And I believe that's well more than 18. So we have defeated the 3rd boss stage. Yay. So, yeah, that was, we kind of got on a roll for that one. But depending on the chaos of the cards being pulled by the bosses, it can go either way a lot of the time. So, no. Hope you enjoyed that one. And it gave you some insight to the team-up play. Even if it was with Commander decks. Commander decks seem to work okay. You could also use other decks as well that aren't Ninja Turtle related, but then there's a couple of cards that, well, there's one in particular that says destroy all turtles. Unless you're playing a specific turtle deck, not even ninjas, but turtles, it's really not going to do anything to you. It's like a free pass. But yeah, it's pretty fun if you can only play solo at the time. Thanks for watching.